All right, this is me, Danny Trent, sitting on the banks of one of my favorite spots here on the river, and just trying to get my breath back. Made a trek down, crawled over the rocks, and sitting here. And this is where I really tap into God. His voice sounds like many waters. And as I watch the water flow and listen to the sound of the water, the frequency, the vibration, I don't know, I think it's in our DNA. I think we're all drawn to this. Could it be the God frequency? I think we resonate on all of God's frequencies. And once I can get out of this 3D existence and away from technology and the television and the hustle and bustle and the BS, I need places like this. But honestly, I'm of the generation that I was born 6 years after television was invented. And since I was a small boy, television's been a part of my life. Actually, it turned into a babysitter. Any of y'all seen the movie Cable Guy? I can identify with the part Jim Carrey played, that almost I can retreat into a fantasy world where it's hard to distinguish the true from the false when I get up in my head and play these scenarios and all of the reruns that I've watched for almost 69 years on this planet. A beautiful soul that I'm engaged to, she has helped me grow so much, and she's reminded me that I need to get back and tap into the source from whence all things come, including myself and all of us. That's from the Creator. And she's challenged me to get back to that childlike innocence and that wonder that I've had for, I would say, the first third of my life. Maybe a little bit less than the first third. But I allowed drugs and alcohol to, it didn't rob me and I didn't lose it to it. I chose to give that reality away. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the first time that I made conscious contact with God. I was a small boy and I'd ridden my bicycle over on the family farm. And there's an irrigation pond over there, and it was twilight. Moon was full. It was cool. It was in the summertime. It was a cool breeze blowing, and the moon it was so bright it reflected off of the pond, off the field, and I could hear the wind blowing through the field grass, and the moon reflected off of the water on the pond. It looked like a billion stars. And I could hear the tree frogs. And at that point, I knew there was something far greater than myself. I realized that there was an author, a creator, that was responsible for all this. And I was drawn to God and pursued Him. And about a year later, I was 10 years old. The Billy Graham crusade came through town. Some of you remember Billy Graham. Some of the younger ones in the audience probably not. But those crusades were the ones that opened me up to the belief in Jesus Christ. And I really was on fire for him. But having the alcoholic mind that I do, I took a little blessing book that was at the house to school with me. We'd always have milk and cookies for break time. And I wanted to bless the milk and cookies. And I was going to read something out of that book, and some of the boys made fun of me and laughed at me. I felt ashamed. And I felt so ashamed that I thought, turned my back on God, on Jesus. And that set the tone. That set the tone for all these fears that were inside of me from, I don't know how long, I guess since birth. And we become what we believe. And I bought into the negative thinking. I bought into my identity was what other people told me that I was. And so for the next 30, 35 years, I ran. And Mom and Dad raised me in the church. And I just felt so inadequate, so less than, that I never could measure up, that how could God love me? So I began drinking at about 12 years old. And it progressed and steamrolled from there for the next over 30 years. I was out there. My addiction progressed to hardcore drugs. And I was a cocaine and amphetamine addict for 20 years, daily user. And I finally hit a bottom. Cried out one day, I said, God, you gotta help me. I can't do this anymore. And from that point on, he introduced me to a fellowship. And Alcoholics Anonymous became part of my life, and so did Narcotics Anonymous. So through the fellowship, I was able to reconnect and learn about a God. I thought I believed in God all my life, and I did, but I didn't act like I believed in Him. I did not act like I believed in Him. But through these 12 steps, a reconnection was made. And I began to grow and begin to let go of this God of my misunderstanding. And a lot of the dogma, a lot of the fear that I learned as a child. Fear means to respect Him. It doesn't mean to cower in a corner and hide from Him. In the garden, Adam and Eve had complete communion with God every day. But then when they turned their back and in essence rejected Him, they hid. It was a perfect relationship. And they became their own gods. They became caught up in their ego. They were caught up in their self-centeredness. And God went looking for them and said, where are you? So ever since then, mankind has sought to reconnect with God. And I'm so grateful that this belief that I have, and the proof, I can't prove to you by my opinion. I can't prove to you by my theology or what I think. I can prove to people that my life has changed. I'm not the same person that I was. And only God could and would if He was sought. That's what I did. And I'm so grateful for Lord Jesus that He never turned His back on me. I've done things in my life that only He has seen. He could have walked away from me at any time. He told me I wasn't perfect. And He told me that He loved me. And the only thing that He wanted from me was my heart. I'm so grateful for the sacrifice that He paid 2,000 years ago. And all He asked from me is to believe. That's all He wants me to do, is believe. So, my life is so much better today as a result of allowing God to work in my life and change me one day at a time. And He's placed people in my life. You know, they say the teacher will appear when the student is ready. And there's one special person that he's put me in my life, and I never thought I'd ever be able to have a relationship again with any woman. But he's placed an angel in my life. And she challenges me, and she's helping me to become a better person. And she is an absolute beacon of radiant light from God. And Miss Katie, I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you every day that you love me and you believe in me and stand by me as I do you, and will continue to do so. So with that, y'all, no drums today. I think I found what I was put here to do, and that's to share about God's love and light in my life, and to let you know there is hope. Never give up. I don't care what you're going through. To seek God every day. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. If it doesn't work, he'll refund you misery. Well, he won't do it, but he'll allow the misery to be refunded, and I can go back out there and live the way I was living. And if I think that's what I want, but I pray every day that I wake up that God will get me through the day without a drink or a drug, and that I can reach out and help someone, mainly by sharing my experience, strength, and hope with them, and thank him at the end of the day for another beautiful day in his creation. So with that, this is Danny T from the river. Until next time, peace, love, and light.